Hey everyone, Brandon here at Gallowayprecision. Today we are going to do a long awaited video. We now have up on the website and shipping the Sigurd short stroke trigger for the LCP II series of pistols. Now, I brought with me a seneschal, and I will show you why the seneschal would not work. Alright, so you notice a couple of things. Curvature slightly different. Notice the beveling's different. Oddly enough, the trigger pivot for the LCP II is bigger than the Sigurd 9. Who knew? Well, we did, but obviously that's why we changed it. And those are about the only two differences. Alright, so the chassis is a little bit different. That's what took so long. We had to change the design of the seneschal to fit for the LCP II, but now we have the Sigurd, which in Old Norse means guiding the victory. Alright, so first let's go over tools we're going to need. You're going to need needle nose pliers, small flathead screwdriver, 3/32 inch punch, 1/16 inch punch, shepherd's crook hook, whatever, either way, you need that. Brass and polymer hammer, and your bench block. Let's go ahead and lock and clear. Except we can't, because I don't know what I did with the slide lock. So hold open. We are visually and physically empty. Let's go ahead and drop the mag and start disassembling. First, we're going to take the slide off. If you've got the toolless takedown, obviously you don't need a tool. But I still prefer to just use this. It's easier. If you've got the normal takedown, take your flathead and pop that bad boy on out. Set your takedown and slide off to the side. We're going to take our 3/32 inch punch, and on the back here we've got the hammer seat cover. So we're going to depress that, pop that off. We're going to take our needle nose pliers. We're going to grab the hammer spring seat. Go ahead and pull it out, set it off to the side, or let it get on your magnet there. Easier to track there. Alright, now take your bench block. We're going to flip it over and take our 3/32 inch punch, our brass hammer. I'm going to drive our pins out. Now, the LCP II is a little bit different from the original LCP. They decided to raise the area for the serial number. So when you go to get it out, you're either going to take your shepherd's crook or your flathead. You see this opening right here? You're going to pop up on the chassis. As soon as you get it to this point, make sure you have your thumb and finger over the slide lock and retaining spring and over the trigger bar, because if you just yank that out, these things go flying. We've got the takedown off for sampling. I think we were looking at something for it. I honestly don't remember at this point. We've had this gun apart so many times. So we're going to fake the funk a little bit. We're going to pretend it's in there. But honestly, on this side of things, nothing should come out. When you got the slide lock in here, it keeps proper tension on the spring. It shouldn't fly off. If it all comes apart, all right, you put the slide lock and retaining spring in first, and then you will put the slide lock in by pushing up on this spring with the slide lock, setting it on, and everything will sit properly. Okay, hammer doesn't come out, nothing else comes out. Now, more pretending, we're going to take our trigger bar off. See, as soon as I took the spring tension off, it pops the other side right off. Alright, so you see our safety blade's gone, but in order to take this trigger out, you're going to take your 1/16 and you're going to knock that pin out. Alright, bang, 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 we knock it out. Making sure to keep your thumb on the back when you go to pull this out, because of the spring behind the trigger safety may just pop out. You don't need it for anything, but as usual, keep all your stock parts in case you need to send the gun in for warranty work. Alright, so once the safety blade's out of your way, you'll flip it upside down, and you'll see the retaining pin for the trigger pivot and return spring. Take your 1/16, push it, should just pop right on out. Alright, once you have that, take your trigger return spring out. We're going to push our trigger pivot out. We're going to take our stock trigger, put it in our bag of goodies, hold on to it with the spring and the safety blade. Your Sigurd trigger will already come with the safety blade installed. Nice flat face with a little bit of curvature at the bottom. Keep the trigger finger from getting pinched, which is a big complaint about these little pistols. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and install our Sigurd. Take your pivot, place it in. Now we're going to flip it up, and because of the safety blade, unless you move it around the way the pre-travel stop we've built in is, you're actually going to turn the pivot and not the trigger to line up the hole, like so. Alright, so then you're going to take your trigger return spring, making sure the arm is forward. Alright, it's going to be at about the 3 to 4 o'clock position. Now what I like to do is I like to take my little screwdriver with its magnetic end and get the retaining pin started, get everything lined up, then I'll take my 3/32 and I'll push it home. And it can be harder on some than others. Make sure you push it in until you hear that pop, and what that is the cutout that's actually in. You can't really see it, but you can see the spring sitting in the middle of everything. What that pop is the cut in, is the spring grabbing hold of that and locking everything in place the way it should. Alright, so now we'll take a little oil. That'll goes a long ways. Oil up your trigger bar channel because they don't come oiled from the factory. And honestly, you really don't need to oil it a whole lot. I'm talking minimal, and probably after about 500 rounds, break it down like we're doing now. Clean it, lube it, put it back together. Alright, so we're going to set our trigger bar. Now notice, because of the fact that the LCP II is a single action, the hammer catch is actually where the trigger bar actuates instead of the hammer itself. So you just need to make sure that the hammer is all the way forward. You see it'll actually finally interact with the trigger bar. So that means everything's in correctly. We're going to spring our trigger return spring backwards, counterclockwise, and get it up under the trigger bar. This is easily done with your fingernail. Otherwise, you'll want to take your flathead, put the little cut in it like so, and then just guide it back in there. Alright, now again, if your slide lock and retaining spring is popped out, put it in, take the slide lock, put it on, pushing the spring up with the slide lock. We're going to pinch it all together now. Alright, and start the trigger in first. Once the chassis starts to hit the hammer catch, go ahead and pull your hammer back a little bit, hold it about like so, and take your 3/32 and push forward as far as you can on the hammer catch while seating the chassis at the same time. It's a little magic trick almost, but what you should see is the hammer interacting with the hammer catch. You should be able to pull the trigger and see some movement in the hammer like so. Now it's not going to move a lot until it's under spring pressure. So go ahead and take your hammer seat, place it in the bottom of your grip frame, take your shepherd's crook, put the spring, pull up, seat the spring. Now here you can try and pull the trigger, but you're going to have to cock it first. Now if you go to cock it, this thing's got a pretty serious hammer spring. If you go to cock it and it does not cock, okay, this isn't a functions check. We're just making sure that the hammer seat and the hammer catch and the hammer are interacting correctly. If it cocks, you're golden. Go ahead and finish putting it together. If it does not, if as soon as you pull away your punch and it flies forward, pull the chassis back, unspring it, pull the chassis back up, and try again. Alright, so now we'll put our frame pins back in. Using our polymer side. Alright, we can go ahead and reassemble the slide. Put our takedown in. If you got your toolless, you can use a tool or a penny or thumb, pretty much anything. Turn that. Again, I still like using tools. We're going to put our hammer seat cover back on, and we are ready to test function. All right, now with the pre-travel already set and the post-travel built into the frame, all you're going to do is rack the slide once, pull the trigger and hold it, and notice that it stops. We've put our own pre-travel and post travel built-in stops into it. So as soon as it breaks, the trigger pretty much stops. All right, so now we're holding the trigger to the rear. We're going to rack the slide. We're going to release. There's your reset. And less than a 1/16 of travel. Bing. All right, so let's see it again. There's your reset. Notice we're at the end of the pre-travel. You got less than a 1/16 to move right there. Bang. Notice that it stops a good 1/8 of an inch before the built-in trigger stop. All right, so you're looking to reduce 20 to 25% of the overall travel. You don't have to worry about the biggest complaint that this and the LCP have always had, is the design of the trigger. If you've got bigger fingers, it easily gets caught under there and gets pinched. Our trigger can't happen. It purposely is made to basically just sit right above the grip on the trigger guard. And I mean, it makes a huge difference in the pull of this little guy. And that's it, guys. We're done. This is much easier, more straightforward installation than most pistols out there right now. Takes about, well, we're looking at 11 minutes. And I realize I do this every day, guys, but with the minimal amount of moving parts, it's really a user-friendly install. That's it, guys. We're done. That was quick, easy, straightforward, I should say, installation. And man, just what a difference that makes. We probably won't be doing a reduced power spring kit for these things, just for the simple fact that being in 380 and being a single action without restrike capability, you got to have a lot of power in that hammer spring. You have to have a ton of force pulling that hammer so it's reliable all the time. So we probably won't be doing anything there, but we got some other things cooking. Don't you worry, little pigeons. I feed you good. All right, and that's going to wrap it up, guys. So if you got any questions, feel free to email me. That's Tech Tango Echo Charlie Hotel at Gallowayprecision.com. And be sure to follow us on social media here on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe below. Be sure to follow us on Gunstreamer, Instagram, Facebook, and Vimeo. And as always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.